couple of really encouraging stories have been making the news here in the UK over the last week or so. The first good news story is that Bible sales are continuing to surge in Great Britain. This is really, really good news. This is something that we first noted a couple of years ago. I think at the beginning of 2025, we first spoke about this, maybe even the year before. And the trend seems to be continuing. In fact, Bible sales are now at the highest level on record in Great Britain. The article says that Bible sales have surged to their highest level since records began as Britain's Christian revival continues to sweep the nation. According to the data firm Nielsen IQ Book Data, the numbers of Britons buying Bibles jumped by 19% last year. The publisher's CEO, Sam Richardson, described the numbers as evidence of a significant cultural shift towards religion in Britain. He said, as we face worldwide political and social change, including the after effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, global wars, the rise of AI, and a growing mental health crisis, individuals are re-engaging with questions of meaning and spirituality. The significant and sustained upward trend in Bible sales suggests that more and more people are investigating the Christian faith for themselves and seeking to draw their own conclusions about its truth. The article goes on to re-emphasize last year's findings from the Quiet Revival report that belief in God has tripled among 18 to 24-year-olds in Great Britain. It's tripled, rising from 16% in 2021 to 45% in 2025. So we're almost at a place now where atheism is in the minority again amongst the youngest generations. We're almost at a place where the majority of young people now believe in God again, which is not everything, but it is something. It's not nothing. This is really encouraging stuff. In the millennial age group, faith has risen more modestly, but still risen to 33%. Two separate polls by YouGov also show a surge in church attendance, with a 56% increase in adults attending church at least once a month. The drastic change means the total population of monthly churchgoers rose from 3.7 million to 5.8 million in 6 years. After years and years of decline. Again, so encouraging. Dr. Rob Barward-Simmons suggests the rise in church attendance could represent a rise in people looking for meaning. He said, with much of the population struggling with mental health, loneliness, and a loss of meaning in life, in particular young people, church appears to be offering an answer. We found that churchgoers are more likely than non-churchgoers to report higher life satisfaction and a greater feeling of connection to their community than non-churchgoers. They're also less likely to report frequently feeling anxious or depressed, particularly young women. We've often spoken about this on the Fuel Project over the years, that the experiment has been tried and the data is in, and it's conclusive. Secular humanism has been found wanting. It is a failed ideology that has produced loss of meaning and misery and anxiety and depression. Christianity, by comparison, will improve your life. It will. It will make you happier. It will make you less anxious, less depressed, more satisfied, more connected. You will find meaning and hope and purpose. Every single study repeats this exact same conclusion, that if you follow this path, you will get misery. If you follow this path, you will find life in all of its fullness. As Christians who've been on this path for a while, watching the world go down this route and fall into that misery and despair and anxiety has been really confusing to watch over the years. It's been like watching people crawling through a desert who are thirsty and craving water, and their soul is dying and shriveling up. And we're standing over here glugging pints of water saying, look, we found the water supply. This is what you need. Jesus is the answer. We were like you once. We were once thirsty, but we came over here and we found the answer. All of this water. Come and join us. Come and join us. To keep the analogy going, Jesus himself said, whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst again. Indeed, the water I give them will become in them a spring of water welling up to eternal life. And the data is in. It's true. What Jesus was telling us is true. But for so many years in the West, Christians would tell people this, and even as they're sinking into all of this misery and depression and anxiety, and they have no meaning and purpose in life, and they're dying of thirst, they would still shout back at us, no, You losers, I'm going to do it my way. I don't need Jesus. I'm going to do it my way. And Christians are all standing over here watching them, baffled while we drink our water. We're like Chevy Chase and the Three Amigos. Everyone else is all thirsty and they're dying of thirst and we're just glugging the stuff saying, why don't you come and join us? Now, that's not to say that the Christian life is always perfect or easy, but it is giving us a hope, a resilience, a meaning, a community, a morality that clearly works. So this is great news that people are finally beginning to come back to Jesus. And hopefully these numbers will continue to grow and we'll start to see tangible evidence of this turnaround in the years ahead. It takes a while for this kind of shift to begin to show on the surface. It's like when you plant a crop. For a long time, you don't actually see anything above the surface, but there's all this germination and roots going down underground and you don't see it, but at the right time, it springs up. So we're not seeing a great deal of evidence of cultural change yet, I'd have to say, but give it 5 years, give it 10 years, 20 years, and there's hopefully going to be this turning point up ahead, this flourishing as all of these seeds that are being planted right now, people are reading their Bibles and going to church, it turns into something great, a big harvest. Actually, whenever I see discouraging things in the news, I find myself holding on to this a little bit, that God may be turning a generation back to him. We can't see it yet. The seeds are all still under the surface and all of these non-Christians are still in power and still in control and still pulling the levers, but there's something coming. We just need these millions of new Bible buyers and church attenders to really grow strong in the Lord in the next few years and then start going into public life and exerting influence and starting to Christianize our society again. I find myself holding on to that sometimes when I just see all of these terrible things happening in the world. There's something coming. God's doing something. It might be under the surface right now, but God is doing something. Let's pray that as these people read his word, they read these Bibles, they go to church, that the word would really penetrate their hearts and it would really turn into something great in the years ahead. So that's happy story number one. The second encouraging news story was this one that says, most Britons fear moving away from Christianity risks harming future generations. The survey conducted by Whitestone found that 52% of Britons believe it would be detrimental to loosen ties with the church. Only 19% thought it would be beneficial to loosen ties with the church. It also finds that 58% of Britons believe that Christianity still has something positive to offer Britain in the way that it's governed morally and practically. Only 11% believe that Britain has shared moral values and strong institutions these days, but 65% believe that those are crucial for holding society together. So in other words, if we put all of these numbers together, Britons increasingly feel that Christianity is beneficial. They increasingly see it as a positive, and they think that it would be damaging for Christianity to disappear from public life. They believe that Christianity is important to the way that we're governed, both morally and practically, interestingly, and they believe the church is a crucial institution for holding society together and making us strong and unified again. The study found that conservatives especially think that we've lost our way morally, no longer knowing right from wrong, and sadly, many conservatives seem to be really demoralized and they doubt whether moral renewal is actually achievable. So there's a bit of demoralization there amongst conservatives that needs to be addressed, a kind of defeated attitude. Unsurprisingly, the study found that far left voters are the most resistant to Christianity, which is why I've spent so much time in recent months warning about far left ideology and trying to deconstruct it and show its weaknesses and how it's come about. And Whitestone says that the findings suggest Britain is struggling with a battle under the surface over how much moral life is formed, transmitted, and authorized. A new cultural, political, and moral moment is emerging, commented Dr. Jonathan Price, and that battle is seen in growing Christian persecution around the world. All of this data suggests that people in the United Kingdom are ready to hear the Christian message in a way that they simply haven't been ready to hear it for several decades, at least. In my lifetime, I've never known a moment like this where so many people have been so positive towards Christianity, and it seems to be on the way up. A majority of Britons now recognize that Christianity is beneficial, it's unifying, it's been a source of moral and civic strength, and they have a positive attitude towards it again. But as this commenter pointed out, although many are increasingly positive towards Christianity, the numbers attending church on Sundays are still too low. So the question here is why? What is keeping them from coming? If there's an increasing positivity, they believe that Christianity is beneficial, it's a good thing, what's keeping people from coming through the door? Maybe there's an intimidation factor. Maybe there's a discomfort. Maybe they're worried they wouldn't be welcomed. Maybe they think they'd be the only one there that wasn't a long-time Christian. Maybe it feels like an exclusive club that they can't come into. Maybe church is just an unknown. Maybe nobody's invited them. Whatever the reason, it seems that many Britons are positive about the church, but for some reason they're just not coming. So I was thinking, can we as a church make a real effort in this moment to facilitate that coming, to break down those barriers and hurdles? Maybe think about inviting someone to church, because if this data is correct, they're more likely to say yes now than ever before. Particularly, I'm speaking to young people, particularly in the 18 to 24 kind of category, as we saw before. In fact, I was thinking, maybe we could even try to really seize this moment by launching a national or even international open church day, where we really start a nationwide or international campaign and get the word out that on a specific day, an agreed Sunday of the year, we're all going to fling open the doors of our churches and welcome in the community. Maybe we could drop leaflets around the town, post on social media, just let it be known worldwide that on this Sunday, it's for you. And other first-timers are going to be there because it's this big day, so you won't be the only one. There's going to be hundreds of first-timers there, so come and make friends with them and with your community and explore church and break down those hurdles. Maybe on that day, we put out some food to eat to sort of welcome them in. Whatever we do, the data is telling us that the fields are white unto harvest right now. There's an opportunity here, an opportunity that just hasn't been here for a very long time. So I'm just trying to think of all of these ways not to let this cultural moment slip, to take all of this positive data and do something about it. Because with a bit of effort and courage and momentum and risk, it's possible we could even see even more people coming into church and this turning into a real revival. I think maybe one problem that's stopping people coming to church is that there's a widespread feeling that the church has been infected with woke ideology. I saw this in many of the commenters down below in this article, that church is now full of pastors preaching feminism and LGBT and trans ideology. I saw so many comments on this article from people saying that the church is basically fallen and therefore there's no point going to church anymore because it's just a fallen, woke place. So you won't even get the gospel there. So we need to let them know that some churches have, but most churches haven't. And we need to be aware as Christians that if people are coming to church, they want the truth. So pastors, don't water it down and think that you have to kneel to woke ideology to appease them and appeal to them and, give way to feminism and LGBT and all that kind of stuff. It's the opposite. They're desperate for the uncompromising truth, for that real gospel message, that real canteen of water that they can chug and quench their thirst. Stop apologizing for the gospel and for the truth of the Bible and speak it boldly. There's a real opportunity here. So let's be actively trying to connect with the community and let's be bold about the truth of our faith. Speak the truth. Speak it in love, but speak the truth. What does everyone think about trying to launch this as a kind of national event or international event? Let me know about this. And maybe share this video with your pastor or your church leaders and see if it inspires them anyway. And if we can really do something about this, because there's a moment here and we need to grasp it.